Your prank calls aren't gonna scare me, pal, okay? Something's been bothering me, and it always has since my grandma told me. The cops said Peter did it. And for years, my grandma said the same, but I think she started to have doubts. Who the hell is this?
Well, we're back. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just as I log in here, the whole opening was great. Now I can see that the stream is doing a bit of lagging again. Folks, I'm not going to stop the stream. We're going to truck through it, and hopefully it will work itself out. As long as you can hear me and the audio's good, if I happen to be 1 frame per second, well, what can you do, right? Who the hell wants to see me anyway? What's going on, everybody? This is episode 181 of Mcrae Live. The date today is Tuesday, June the 22nd, 2021, 4:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Dave Mcrae, coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. And the topic of discussion today is Halloween Kills trailer number 2. We're calling it number 2, even though really it's the first one. I mean, there was that kind of little 30-second thing they released last year, but this really is the first official trailer on the horizon that everybody is excited about. Okay. Now, where should I begin? Well, first, let me begin by saying that I know I have been a little MIA in terms of the Halloween news. Things have just been very busy, and with everybody talking about it and speculating about it, and people saying this and people saying that, and I am in it, as you can imagine, I am inundated with messages. I love you guys. Obviously, I can't get back to everybody. It's not practical. It's not possible. But when Halloween news drops or when there's something on the horizon, or I just get a flood of messages. I am aware of the rating here in Canada. I am aware of the time and that it was rated, not the film. The trailer itself was rated 14A here in Canada, which is 1 below R, I believe, here in this country. So I'm very aware of that. And as you know, about a month or so ago, I had made a video where I told you that one of my trusted sources had told me that the trailer was not coming in May. It was not coming in June. It was not coming June 4th or June 11th or June 10th or 15th or whatever everybody else was saying. It could come. It wasn't coming then. It wasn't coming till July. I made a video about that a month or so ago. It's on my channel. Now, let me start by saying this. I received, out of all the messages that I received, there is this message that I received here. I'm going to go over to the other screen for a second here. I received this message from somebody. This was it today or yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It's been such a busy day. It said, "Hey, Dave, so with the Halloween Kills trailer on the horizon, I'm surprised you haven't been talking about it. Also, I see a lot of people making fun of you and your so-called quote-unquote sources. Lots of people are saying no one knows the date and no one really has sources. It's all guesses, and if anyone says otherwise, they're lying, all of it. What do you say to that then?" Well, okay. I don't want to get on. I am going to talk to you about, it's a process, okay? You know how I work here. If you come in and you just want the date or the news or whatever, I'm not the channel for you. There's a process. And I want to address this because this is the first I'm hearing about this, okay? If this is true. Now, I'm not a part of a lot of Facebook groups, okay? The only Facebook group that I'm a part of is Killer Flicks, okay? And I've been a part of that for 4 years or whatever it was. Lee McCoy invited me over there about 4 years or so ago on the cusp of Halloween 18. I said, sure, that'd be great. But I'm not attached to a lot of Facebook groups. I really don't know what other people are saying. I don't know if this is true. Okay. I couldn't care less. But the reason why I want to address it is because if there are people saying this, if there are people out there saying that, you know, if they roll their eyes at you know, things like this, I can understand it. I understand it. I actually empathize with that, and I understand it because I'm getting messages already. Let me turn that down. I understand. I have a very specific perspective, okay? And I don't want to get into a whole thing here. I have a video on my channel where I talk about sources, the importance of what a source is, what a source isn't, and all that kind of stuff. And it's a Mcrae Live episode about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Watch it. And it will give you some insight. I take this very seriously. I'm somebody that's worked in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. I'm not just some guy flying by the seat of his pants, you know, posting something that has no merit to it. I don't do that, okay? It's my credibility. It's my name on the line. I grew up in a media family. For those of you that don't know, I did a whole thing on it. I talked about it in that video. But for the sake of this here, I just want to give a bit of perspective of why I take this seriously. Now, I don't know if this is true, but if it is true, let me just tell you that I'm not bullshitting you. Okay. And I wouldn't put my name out there if I wasn't sure, if I didn't have connections in certain places. And I'm not talking about Bob knows Steve who knows the dishwasher. I'm talking about people who work in a position where they would know that information. It's not so-and-so told so-and-so who's now telling me. It's a direct link and contact for somebody who would know a date or know a month or know whatever we're talking about. And in case you haven't noticed, I don't jump online very often at all and talk about sources because 9 times out of 10, when sources tell you information, it's not share worthy. Okay. And where did I learn this? Why do I have this perspective? I grew up in a media family. This is me and my father. My father passed away in 2011. My father was one of Canada's top journalists and columnists for many years. He met the Beatles. This is my father here on the far left pointing the pen. He's also met Donald Trump. There's my father with Donald Trump back in, I think, 2008 or 7 or whatever it was. Here's my father with John Candy, hanging out with John Candy in the early 90s. This is my father here with Robert Kennedy back in the late 60s. This is, I think this is about maybe 6 months before Kennedy was assassinated. And I think that's all I have up here from the other day. So I come from a media family where I learned a lot from my father, and I take this shit. Let me take that off there first of all. We're over here. There we go. I take this very seriously. So I just want people to, I wanted to address this because I don't know if this is true, but I don't understand why this person would say this if there weren't people talking about me in that way. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not up on what people are saying about me unless they send me a direct message. But I want people to understand that I don't put my name out there, very often at all. Do I ever say, hey, a source told me? Because I've learned very early in my life that 9 times out of 10, information that sources tell you is not share worthy. Okay. There's only a moment. There's a very specific moment in time where you get the information you need to be able to share it. When you get information from certain people and places, it's like a puzzle. Okay. You don't just get information. You got to piece things together until you are sure because it is your name. My father, would put his name out there with certain things, right? So I learned that from a very young age. Now, I'm not a reporter. I'm not a columnist. But, on this YouTube channel, I am, quote unquote, reporting stuff, right? On Halloween. And having been in the business for 20 years, I've met many different people throughout my life. Some people very well connected, some people not so well connected, right? I've met the Bob knows Jims knows the dishwashers too. But I've also met some pretty connected people who would have certain information that I trust. So when I gave you that information back in May, and I don't say this in a braggadocious way, please do not understand that. That's the last fucking thing I want people to take from this. Out of everything I'm saying, oh, Dave's bragging. I'm not bragging at all. I just want to give context and perspective to those who may think I'm bullshitting you. or that I'm just pulling something out of my ass because I know a guy who knows the dishwasher, who knows the mechanic, who worked on so-and-so's car, who happened to work. That's not what this is. I don't come to the table with that kind of shit. I learned very early in my life that's the shit you don't report on, okay? So I'm just trying to give some perspective that when I put my name out there, I'm being serious about it. Now, that doesn't mean that things can't change, and that doesn't mean that things can't evolve. Information changes. Things change all the time. But I just want people to understand this perspective for which I'm coming at you from, okay? I was very confident that we were not going to get a trailer at the beginning of June because of this individual that told me this. This individual is in a position where they would know that. So I'm not surprised we didn't get a trailer at the beginning of June. I'm not surprised because this individual who would know that information told me that. Again, I'm not saying this in a braggadocious way. I'm saying it to give perspective. That's all. Now, people are free to rule. I don't know who he's talking about or what groups or forums he's talking about. Maybe it's on Reddit. I don't fucking know. I'm not even on there. But if people are going, whatever, well, that's fine. It's, maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe I couldn't care less. I get excited about information, and I get excited to deliver that information to you, the fans. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be right all the time, but I never come to the plate unless I am sure. That doesn't mean things can't change, but unless I am sure. That's why I rarely come to the plate, because very rarely are we given concrete information, right? It's usually speculative and murky and he said, she said, he said kind of stuff, right? Anyway, I just want to be clear on that. So, what's his name? Mark. His name's Mark. His name's not on here. Mark, I don't know who you're talking about, but I think I would like to believe that the way I've handled myself on my channel speaks for itself. So now that that's out of the way, I just want to get that out of the way. Let's talk about the Halloween Kills trailer, okay? And by the way, if you want to know more about sources and my thoughts on that and that kind of deep dive, go to the episode of Mcrae Live where I talk about that. I think you'll find it interesting. Okay. So, do I have information? Yes, I do. And I have information that I am going to go to the plate on, and I'm going to put my name out there and my neck out there because I am certain of this information. Now, the source that I reached out to, there's 3 people that I talked to for various different reasons. Okay, they don't all have the same jobs. They don't all work at the same level. So if I wanted to know fill in the blank, I might reach out to fill in the blank over here. If I want to know fill in the blank, I might reach out to fill in the blank over here. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like they're 3 different people in 3 different positions. So this individual that told me this information back in May, I haven't talked to about it in a while, but I touched base. I saw the release of the rating of the trailer and the time and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, and people were talking about it, and shout out to all the channels that are talking about it too. I think you guys do fucking amazing work. Like, it's just, seriously, I mean that. Like, it's great stuff. And so I reached out to this guy who's out in LA, and I said, so are we now? Back in was it May? End of May or whatever it was. They knew the date. But they didn't tell me the date. They knew the date. They said, I have a date for you, but I can't tell you it. I said, well, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, they trust me, but come on. You know what I mean? I get it. There's a lot riding on this. Well, that date has not changed, and I was given a little more information. So I do know that now, whether you believe me or not, that's okay. You don't have to believe me. Whether you want to, I don't encourage people to go on and Dave Mcrae said. It sounds so pretentious. It sounds like don't do that. It sounds it's just, no one likes that shit, right? Okay. But I'm speaking about information that I have from somebody I trust who is in a position who would know this. So the date you could expect the trailer to drop. Okay. And again, if you want to take this to the bank, great. If you don't. I'll either be proven right or wrong, or they'll be proven right or wrong. But because we're so close to this date right now, It's probably a lock deal. Okay. July 1st, Canada Day. All right. That's when you can expect it. July 1st, Canada Day. That's not why they're releasing it, because of Canada Day. Okay. Now, I mean, but that is when you can expect it. Okay. Now, as I've said many times before, can things change between now and then? Anything is always possible. Now, somebody could say, well, Dave, you're just saying that so that if you're wrong, you can say, well, see, I told you. No, that's not why I'm saying that. That's not why I'm saying that. Anybody who works in show business, especially in the marketing and distribution side of things, knows things can change, and very quickly, for a variety of different reasons. That's not a caveat or an outpoint in the small fine print on my contract that I can get out. That's not what that is. It's just a reality of the business. However, because we are only 8 days away, I think. Yeah. 9 days, 9 days away from that date, I think it is more probable that that's when we can expect it. Okay. So why? Well, take a look at the calendar. I mean, you have a Blumhouse film, The Purge, that Friday, right? July 2nd. It's the 4th of July weekend. That's when a lot of things are opening up in the U.S. It feels like a good time. It feels like a good time. Now, can you say, well, I guessed that like a month ago. I was looking at the calendar of The Purge. I knew it. That's fine. I didn't know it. I had no idea. I'm not saying this because this is a guess. I'm saying this because it came from somebody who would know this information. Again, not Bob who knows Jim, who knows the dishwasher. Somebody who would know this information. No, I don't know Jason Blum. People have been like, Jason? No. It's not. It's nobody at Blumhouse. Okay. But it is somebody that would know this information. So take it with a grain of salt. If you want to believe me, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. Okay. But please know that the reason why you don't see me talking about sources very often is because 9.9 times out of 10, there's nothing to report. It's not newsworthy, and I like to be sure. I'm Richard Dreyfuss in fucking Jaws. Maybe Martin, maybe it probably is, maybe, but I want to be sure. You want to be sure. We all want to be sure. Okay. It's just that, the bite radius on this animal is different than the ones on the victim. I want to be sure. You want to be, that's how I operate, and it's not because I am a news reporter. It's just because of the values that were instilled to me. I watched my father for many years, and the things that I learned from him. He was the guy that would always tell me, Dave, now obviously it was in relation to him as a writer, but he would say, Dave, the question is not whether they like you or hate you. The question is, are they reading you? You know what I mean? And my dad was a very, not polarizing, but you either, like, my dad could write something that could piss you off, and then in the very next day in the paper, he could write something that could make you cry. You know what I mean? My dad was a really good writer. Actually, there's two of my dad. I brought these out as props. These are 2 books that my dad wrote, which are a collection of his stories, which are really cool. That's my dad there on the back, if you can see him there. But it's pretty cool stuff. Anyway, they're a collection of all of his old stuff from like the 70s and the 80s. Anyway, but I learned a lot from my dad, and I miss him dearly. Obviously, he's been dead for 10 years this year. But I just want people to know that I take this seriously. It doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean other people are wrong. I'm not that. Look, there are other people in our space that I'm sure have reliable sources or have people they talk to, I'm just talking from my own bubble. I'm just talking from my own bubble. That's it. And if somebody wants to criticize me or roll their eyes, whatever, man. I don't know who these people are. I don't know who you're talking about, but I care about you as the fans, and I care about having the correct information and waiting on the correct information until I am I'm very sure. So that's when you can expect it. July 1st, obviously, July 1st, 2025. No, July 1st. So 9 days from now is when you can expect it dropping online. And then it will probably be attached to the Purge trailer. So we'll see. I mean, could something change? Maybe, but I'm not going to get online and be like, oh, well, I mean, if people come hounding me like you're a fucking loser, I'll be like, well, things can change, but I'm going to own it. This is what I got. So, and obviously, some people have said, well, who's your source? Well, I obviously can't tell you that. It's not because I don't have them. Come on. It's because these people would get into trouble. Okay. So, that's why I respect the trust and the anonymity of that kind of thing, that kind of a relationship. I respect that. You know what I mean? And if I respect that and I show that I'm willing to honor the anonymity of somebody, then they're more likely to trust you and share information. That's just how it works. You know what I mean? So, anyway, 9 days from now, you can expect it. And I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be exciting to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing it at 2 minutes and 30. What was it? 2 minutes, 37 seconds, I think they said. That's exciting to me. Because, well, I mean, 2 minutes, 37 seconds, it all depends, right? You can cut it. You can cut a 1 minute trailer and show a lot in a 1 minute trailer. And you can cut a 2 minute and 37 second trailer and show not very much. You can be very nuanced about it and very sort of selective of what you're showing and how you construct and the pacing of that trailer. So don't think that, now, of course, Blumhouse, Universal, they do have a history of showing their movies in their trailers. But so I guess the probability is high that we're probably going to see a lot in the trailer, right? And we're only 3 months out, essentially, from that point. There hasn't been any marketing for it at all. So yes, you can probably expect a good dose of Halloween Kills in this trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. I don't know what's in the trailer. I am not privy to that information. Nobody's told me that information. This person Oh, and by the way, I do know this because this came from the same person. This trailer's been locked for a year. This trailer was ready to go last year. So it's not like they've been cutting the trailer. No, it's been sitting on a shelf collecting dust for a year. That I know. But I haven't seen it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing what's in it. As you guys know, I was not a huge fan of the 2018 film. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a really good modern day slasher, just kind of failed for me as a Halloween movie. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes and if they, what they do. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be balls to the wall. I mean, Halloween Kills. It's going to be balls to the wall, fucking mayhem, slasher shit, and all that kind of jazz. It's crazy, but I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to see what they do. I hope they keep this intact, and I definitely want the anonymity of Michael Myers to be kept there. I don't think they should start opening up that door, having James Jude Courtney with his face exposed, and there's like this 5-minute scene where he's like hacking up people with no mask on or something. I don't want it. Like, there's a lot of things. There are lines that I would not go. But I do know this, as we all do, that this is going to be a balls to the wall, slasher, gory, bloody film. I mean, it just will. It may be, for some, a little too Friday the 13th. That I know. It's going to be pretty crazy. I just want people to know that. It may be a little, like I said, a little too Jason maybe, but maybe not. Although I'm curious to see how they balance it. Not just the trailer, but the movie. I want to know, how do they go blood, guts, and gore with Michael Myers and Halloween Kills, right? But still preserve the integrity of the enigma of the character, because by default, when you have it's going to be interesting. it's going to be like an acquired taste to see how they balance it, essentially. You know, we want to please the modern audience. It's Halloween Kills. It's the second chapter. It's going to be a dark chapter, no doubt about it, because the second installment in a 3-act play usually is. So it's going to be darker in tone and like thematically and in tone and whatnot. Bloodier, gorier, intense. Is it going to feel even more less like Halloween? Is it going to feel even less like Michael Myers? Like, this is what I'm curious about. And that's not me trying to be a pain in the ass and a party pooper. I am okay. I'm okay with accepting the fact that this is going to be what it is. Like, it's going to be this kind of a movie. I'm okay. And I can have fun with it. I want to have fun with it. I never want a Halloween film to fail, ever. I want to have fun with this fucking movie. Let's do it. Yes. You know, let's fucking do it. But there is a line, in my opinion, where Michael can cross the threshold of no return into Jason territory. And that's where I'm kind of like, and then it's like, what are we, you know what I mean? I'm kind of curious about that. Anyways, let's go over to the chat room and see what you guys are saying. And if you have any questions for me about Halloween Kills, about the information that I just laid on you, let me know. You know, are you somebody that's rolling your eyes right now because you think I'm full of shit? That's okay. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Are you somebody that, you know, again, I think his name's Mark. Mark's the guy that sent this. And I get a lot of these, not these. I've never had anybody send me a message telling me there's lots of people saying that I'm full of crap. I don't know who these people are. But that could also be because I'm not connected to a lot of the forums and Facebook pages or Reddit pages or, you know, wherever, where people could be saying this. And you know what, Mark, people are entitled to their opinion, man. They are entitled to their opinion. They're allowed to think what they want about me. I know there are people out there that think I'm an arrogant, pretentious, egotistical prick. I know that. I'm not. You know, I'm blunt and I'm honest and I have a theatrical personality, but I am certainly not, you know, many of the things that I'm sure people have said or think. But people are allowed to think the things they want. You know what I mean? They are entitled to think that way. And so, you know, I don't know what to say to you, dude, other than, okay, you know, but that's why I think the way I do. That's why I say the things I say. And you'll notice it's like once in a blue moon, I will make a post or a tweet where I'm like, hey, a reliable, trusted source told me this. It's like once in a blue moon, like once, twice a year, maybe, if that. But just know if I do that, I'm putting my neck out there. It's not you that has to worry about me being wrong. It's me that's got to worry about me being wrong. You know what I mean? So, you know, I wouldn't do that if I wasn't sure, you know, if I wasn't confident in the information, I mean. Okay. Podcast 1919 sends in a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, extremely excited for the trailer and love when we get info from you. Thanks for what you do, Dave. Well, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. And again, I don't know everything. Okay. I mean, like I said, I spent 20 years in the entertainment industry and I reach into my experience into the people I know. Sometimes I reach out to people. Sometimes they don't get back to me. Sometimes I reach out to people I haven't talked to in a while and they do get back to me. You know, it's just in my travels through the industry. And, you know, I've met many different types of people and who all work in the business. I've worked at the highest levels of voiceover in entertainment. And, you know, you meet certain people. Yes, it's voiceover, but it's still the entertainment industry and they're all connected. Whether you're a crew member, whether you're a director, whether you're an actor, whether you're a voice actor, whether you are, you know, you work at the office, you know, in marketing or, you know, what have you, there's different levels and there's different reasons why people would be connected with certain people or meet certain people or know certain people. Absolutely. 100%. Right. You know, I'm not here claiming I know Jason Blum. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just saying that when you work in a business long enough, you meet many different types of people. And I've met people through this channel as well. There's been people that have reached out to me through this channel that's been surprising, actually. There's been a few people that have made themselves known, like, hey, dude, watch it. I'm like, really? You watch my stuff? It's like, wow, that's really cool. Like, I had no idea. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure other people, I'm sure the Cody Leaches and the Wham guys and all that too, they get the same thing. They get like, oh, really, dude, you watch our stuff? Wow, that's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what people are saying. I just do my own thing here. You know what I mean? I mean, clearly I'm not doing this to get, I'm talking about the channel. I'm not a clickbaity person. Most of my shows are on topics that people don't care about. Okay. But I do, and I like talking about it. So I do. But I get excited to share information. I get excited to share information with you guys because there's like a not a communal, but like I get excited to see you guys get excited. It makes me excited. And sometimes when you are the guy that is known for Halloween, and sometimes when you talk about Halloween all the time, you can get tired. And it can be tiring. And then sometimes, and I know other channels may or may not feel this way, but sometimes when Halloween news comes up and I see you guys, and your eyes light up and you're like, hey, dude, Dave, did you see this? Did you see that? It kind of sparks a little fire in me again, where I'm like, okay, I need a break. But after a break, you're kind of like, you guys get me excited again. You know what I mean? And that's really cool too, to see you guys come to life, and so I appreciate you saying that, because if you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be talking about this, right? So I'd be talking to my cat like, hey, Veda, guess what? Evil Alex says, Halloween 2018 is my favorite sequel of the franchise. Very cool. Can't wait for kills. Myers is my favorite part of the films, and he is on point from mask moment and kills. James is amazing. James Jude Courtney is amazing as Michael Myers. James Jude Courtney, if you're out there, if you ever want to come on my channel and talk about the experience and all that, I'd love to have you on. I think he seems like such a nice guy, such a nice man, stand-up dude. And he knocked it out of the fucking park. The dude did. He knocked it out of the park. Amsel54 says, Dave, would you be okay with a Busta Rhymes cameo as a cop or something in Halloween Kills? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be okay with that. I would not be okay with that. I fucking hate him. No, I don't hate Busta Rhymes. I just hate his character. Vanderhoff 66FU sends in $2, says, I pray they don't ruin H Kills with the trailer like H18. Well, I mean, it all, like, with the 2-minute, based on the trailers that Universal distributes for Blumhouse, that there's going to be a lot in it. And it makes sense to a degree because you are dealing with a film that is only 3 months away, essentially 3.5 months away. And there hasn't been really any marketing for it at all. I don't know this. Okay. I don't know this, but this is an informed guess that we're probably going to get a poster very soon too. It wouldn't surprise me if a poster dropped on July 1st as well. That wouldn't surprise me. That's not how it's usually done. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just simultaneously drop both, or they drop the poster at the beginning of next week. And, I don't know, but a poster's got to be on the horizon as well. It's got to be. And I can tell you right now that the poster would be done. It's probably been done for a long time. Okay. And they're just waiting, obviously, because nothing is arbitrarily done. Nobody markets these things. I don't know. We'll just fucking drop it here. We'll just do this, or whatever the case is. There are strategic marketing plans and reasons for why they release things at the times that they do. So, yeah, but no, I wouldn't be okay with that. Songfan sends in $4.99. Thanks, Songfans. Says, I honestly feel like there's going to be a lot of cheesy, shoehorned moments in this movie. I just don't think David Gordon Green was the right man for the job. That's fair. I mean, I don't think so. I think with a movie like this, I have a feeling that they're taking it up a notch. I don't think you're going to get peanut butter on my penis jokes. I mean, could there be a little, and there probably will be, comic relief in the sense of like a statement that's ironic, you know what I mean? Or a little wink, like a moment, you know, not a scene, but like a moment, you know what I mean? Where like, you know, I don't know, they're trying to get out of a situation and somebody's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And the other person's like, yeah, blah, 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 you know, and it's kind of a funny little comment, you know, and then they go on like that I could see. I could see a little bit of like an ironic moment or a little wink or a little kind of, oh, you know, something like that. But nothing like and shout out to Christopher Nelson because he's an awesome dude as well. But I know some people, I actually didn't have I actually, ironically, because I have such an issue with the cops in part 5, I actually didn't have an issue with the cops in Halloween 18. I thought the scene dragged on for too long. Like I thought the point was made after like, you know, 20 seconds. And I thought that it went on for too long. But having the scene in and of itself, it didn't bother me. I thought it was actually well done. I don't think you're going to get a scene like that again. I mean, obviously, certainly not with those two cops because they're dead. But I mean, like, you know, a scene like that. I don't think you're going to get that. I think it'll just be sort of very brief, very fleeting, maybe like a line that's, you know, somewhat humorous or ironic or something like that. Maybe a little self-aware or something. I don't know. You know, but nothing that would take you out of the movie completely. But who knows? Who knows? But I'm very curious to see what David Gordon Green is going to do with Halloween Kills, because this is his opportunity to, you know, now we'll really get a sense of the style, right? Of you know, I don't think he's going to course correct completely, but I think he's thought to himself, okay, you didn't like that? All right, here we go. We're going to fucking take it up. And I'm very curious to see what this movie's going to be like, you know, and what the tone and the feeling's going to be, what that flashback scene's going to be. You know, that flashback scene is an integral part of this movie. I'm very curious to see how that's going to be handled and whether it's going to feel organic or whether it feels a little shoehorned in. You know, how are they going to handle Loomis? What things are we going to like? What things are we not going to like? There is no doubt that we're going to be breaking it down here on this channel. You know, the Halloween mayhem is just beginning once again. So there will be lots of talks and lots of discussions, and there's other channels that you're going to want to tune in to find out that kind of stuff, like, you know, the Wham guys and Cody Lee. Well, I don't know if Cody's going to cover Halloween. He's not really a Halloween guy. He may talk about it a bit, but he's not really a Halloween guy. But certainly that's a great channel. Drum Dums, of course. You know, Jimmy Champagne. He's a Halloween guy. You definitely want to tune into him. Wolfman's Got Nards. You're definitely going to want to tune into him, you know, because we all bring different perspectives, right? You know, we all have similar opinions on things, but we also have very different opinions on things and different insights and perspectives and different levels of experience, right? And reasons for that, and different personalities for sure. I mean, I'm definitely, you know, more of the theatrical, bombastic, outspoken side, whereas Wolfman's Got Nards, a little more calm, cool, and collected, you know, and maybe he's more your style, you know what I mean, than me. But certainly don't forget to check out those guys too, because they do some good Halloween shit. And I just think it's important that you know, I think it's important that people choose choose wisely, like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But, you know, feel free to, if I'm not your flavor, you don't really like me, there's a lot of other channels that will definitely be covering it as well. And of course, Sean over at Fandom Empire. How could I forget Sean over at Fandom Empire, who does a great job talking Halloween all the time and has some great insights over there too. So he's definitely going to be talking about it. So, but I'm very curious to see what this movie is going to be like, for sure. Very, very curious. The Addy Gaming channel just sends in $4.99. Thank you, Addy. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Frank Riker, my man, Frank says, once the trailer and poster drops, we'll all be as giddy as a virgin on prom night. I literally thought that said, we'll all be as giddy as a virgin on porn night. Bobby Hall, my man Bobby, says, Dave, how do you feel about Michael writing the word Sam Hain on the chalkboard in Halloween 2? Since he never speaks, do you think this type of communication goes too far in this character? I've never really thought about it. That's a good question, Bobby, and maybe better reserved for sort of a deeper dive on Halloween 2 and how, of course, that sequel naturally opens up the backstory of Michael Myers. And of course they had to do that or they'd just be doing the same thing over again. I still think you didn't have to do that. I don't think people who are familiar with my channel definitely know my thoughts on Halloween 2. It's still my favorite sequel in the franchise. I think it's far inferior to the first one, but I think because of its choice to pick up where the first one left off and all that kind of stuff, it feels like a natural progression. Some people have said that about It's Me, Billy, which is really cool. That's a nice compliment. Some people have said, when you watch Black Christmas and then you watch It's Me, Billy, it really does kind of feel like it fits in the, in the universe. And I was like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm sure others don't think that, but anyway, so I would say I agree with the principle of what you're talking about, right? It's like, but then again, he drives a car, you know what I mean? And can we imagine him picking up a 250-pound tombstone? I don't know how much it weighed, but let's say it weighed like 100 pounds. Picking up a 100-pound tombstone and putting it in the back of the station wagon? I think what's more important than the end result to a degree, what's more important than the end result with a lot of Michael's shit is we can't see his process, right? And that's why, although I do think we are going to see his process, it's kind of obvious with the promotional image of Michael standing on the fucking porch of Laurie Strode's house with fire all around him and, water teeming down. I think we're going to see his process of how he escapes, but I don't think it's necessary. Obviously, because anytime that you see Michael's process to something, you humanize him too much, and or like writing on a chalkboard, even in blood, is a very human thing, right? The process of cognitively being aware to do that, picking it up, writing on a chalkboard, it's a very human. It looks strange, for a character like Michael Myers. Seeing the end result, we know he must have done it, but then again, him driving a car seems a little strange, and we kind of forgive that too, but there's something more, maybe there's something more mysterious. Maybe it's the question of, well, how did he know how to drive a car? And because maybe him driving a car is always steeped in that mystery of how did he even know? I know it explains it in the Halloween novel, okay? But in the Halloween novel, the Michael Myers mask had big blue eyeshadow and red lipstick. So let's not put too much stock into the novel, folks, okay? But in terms of the movie, maybe that's why there's a mystery that surrounds it. Do you know what I mean? But I never want to see his process. Because if you see him trying to get out of a jam, for example, you then paint him as vulnerable. We have to see him vulnerable. That's why I hated the opening of Halloween 5. Shout out to Don Shanks. Great stuntman. Did a great job. But seeing the character of Michael Myers, crawling through the rubble and then floating down the river and then stumbling to the it's vulnerable. I don't want to see him like this. We shouldn't see this mysterious figure vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? He should have just appeared, just maybe shown up at the hermit's place or something. We don't know, We don't need to have answers for everything. He's the shape. He's the boogeyman. He is the embodiment of the enigma, So, yeah, I guess because we never saw Michael writing Sam Hain on the chalkboard, I guess it never bothered me. But I understand what you're saying, Bobby. It's a good question. Something to think about. Caleb Weaver sends in $4.99. Thank you, Caleb. Says, hey, Dave, I was just wondering, can you explain to my dad why Laurie Strode is in Halloween 2018, but was killed off on Halloween Resurrection? Yes. Okay. Well, Mr. Weaver, Halloween 2018 is a movie that pretends all the other Halloween movies, except for the first one from 1978, they don't exist. So Halloween Resurrection, the movie that Laurie died in, that movie doesn't exist. It pretends all those other films don't exist and picks up with only the very first one from 1978 existing. So for all intents and purposes, Halloween 2018 is the direct sequel to Halloween from 1978. It's like an alternate universe sequel. You know what I mean? Hopefully that explains it. I think I've been pretty clear. Stuart Johnson says in £9.99. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, Dave, I felt that in 2018 Halloween movie, they showed too much of Michael without the mask and made him look too much like an old man, which was a big negative. Thoughts? Yeah, admittedly, I haven't watched the movie in a little bit, but I would say that I agree with you to a degree. I think that my only issue was I didn't have an issue with seeing him standing in the courtyard. Funny enough. Although I'm trying to think back, because I actually had a chance to see the film at the world premiere at TIFF in Toronto, and I can't really remember my feeling from scene to scene. I remember my feeling at the end of the movie, and I remember going, I don't know. I got to see it again, Shout out to Lewis from the Nerd Report. If Lewis is watching, he's probably laughing right now. When I was in Los Angeles for the Halloween convention, the 40th anniversary convention, Lewis and I met up and we went and saw H18 at the Chinese Theater, which was really cool. The Nude Report. That's a whole other fucking channel there, folks. The Nerd Report. So I can't really remember my thoughts from scene to scene, but I do remember thinking in the bathroom scene when he comes in and he attacks, what's her face there? What's her face? I almost forget her name. Anyway, attacks her, and then Aaron comes in and he doesn't have a mask on. And if you pause it, not that you're not supposed to pause it. Part of the experience of watching a movie is not pausing something and go, see, that looks like shit. It's like, well, yeah, of course it looks like shit. You paused it. It's like, I hate when those people will take an image, and they will put it into Photoshop. They will brighten the image up, boost the contrast, brighten it to levels like it was like the fucking, like God is coming through the window and go, see, it looks like shit. Well, of course it looks like shit. That's not the intention of the photograph. It's not supposed, well, yeah, because you took it and why did you do that? You see, I told you it looks like ass. I mean, that's like me, delivering you this gourmet meal. It looks amazing. It looks so incredible. All this, look at this meat and potatoes and all this looks like, and the gravy and stuff. And then I go and take a gigantic shit on your plate and go, see, I told you it looks like shit. Well, yeah, of course it looks like shit now. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's a bit of a side note, tangent, Dave on a tangent, on a rant. But I will say that, yes, I think there were certain creative decisions done with him that I would not have done, that I don't think was necessary. Another example of that would have been, it's a cool shot. I love the shot. Okay. And look, making movies is fucking hard. It's fucking hard, man. I mean, at the end of the day, they gave you and us and even me the best Halloween sequel in years. Okay. I mean, let's be honest, right? Despite issues I have with tone, I don't think they should have done that, or maybe they should have done this. It's fantastic. And in terms of giving you going back, taking a step back to go forward, right? Now, Halloween 2 is that step forward, or Halloween Kills is that extra step forward. So they were here, they went back to here to do H18, and it got you to here. Even maybe I thought maybe they got you to here, but now they're doing what? Now they're going to go past. Now they got to go forward. Now it's the real test, right? Now it's an even bigger test. But the scene that I would have, well, there's a couple of them, but one in particular with Myers was when he puts on the mask in broad daylight, and we see the shot through the back windshield of the car. It's a cool shot. It's a good idea. I just would have done the whole thing at night. Because then you could have had like a lamppost or the moon or something, and he puts on that mask. And then the very first time we see him in the mask in 40 years is he's encased in this moonlight in shadow, and you see the white mask, and you're like, oh, fuck. It goes back immediately to the last image we have of him. You know what I mean? From the original film. It's just little things like that I think I would have done differently. But it's not wrong. It's just a creative choice. It's differences in creative decisions, you know, but there are also a lot of people out there that fucking love that scene and love that moment. You know what I mean? So, and think it's perfectly fine. So, you know, yeah, I get what you're saying though. Flick-symmetry. That's a cool name. $4.99. Thank you, buddy. He says the flashbacks will really tell the story in this one, especially when we see Tommy, Lindsay, and Brackett again. Yes, I've been privy to the script, as a lot of people have. It's been leaked and it's out there. If you know what to look for, you can look for it. I haven't read it from cover to cover, so to speak, as you know the saying goes, or page from front to back. But I've skimmed through it and I've read a lot of stuff. And yeah, it does. If what we see on screen is what is in the script, things can change, drafts can change, things can be cut for pacing, timing, who knows what. Okay. So what you see on the page isn't necessarily what you're going to see verbatim on the screen. It could be, but it may not be. I mean, there's things with It's Me, Billy that we had to kind of cut or axe for time, or that didn't work, or whatever the case is, that's in the script, right? So, I mean, you know, you got to be mindful of that. It's possible. It's possible. Jason Badass says 3C Films covers horror. 3C Films. I think I know who 3C Films is. Well, shout out to 3C Films. Shout out to 3C Films. Anybody who covers horror and puts themselves out there and does the work and the legwork, and like, shout out to them. Seriously. I sincerely mean that, because there are a lot more hardworking people in this space than me. And I'm not saying that I don't work hard. I'm not saying that. I just mean that there are people out there that put in. There are people. Look, I am taken. Obviously, I'm in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for 10 years, but I don't have any children. And as a professional voice actor, I have the pleasure of doing most of my work from my home studio here. So my commute is often from the bedroom to the basement. So, you know, I am very fortunate to do what I do for a living. I'm very fortunate that I have that level of commute. I mean, you know, every now and then I got to drive downtown Toronto and, you know, and be stuck in traffic for 2 hours and all that kind of shit. But I have a job that allows me to work from home, which is really cool. But there are people in our space, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that have full-time jobs, that work 9 to 5, that are married with children, and often little children, that demand your time and attention when you get home, as soon as you get home, and are also dishing out amazing content like 3 or 4 days a week. It fucking blows my mind. It sincerely does. So shout out to anybody who does that and who puts in the work. So I think I know who 3C Films is. I think I know who they are, but I'm not 100% sure. But shout out. Okay, let me see here. Did I everybody? I don't think so. Oh, hey, Darren, my man, Darren Sands, one of my great moderators here, says, Michael moved a bit like RoboCop in HAT. Still my favorite behind Nick and Dick. Jesus, I'm ranking here. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's sort of that. The question to me was, besides the obvious height difference, I mean, obviously Nick Castle's 5'10", James Jude Courtney's 6'3", so there's a bit of a height difference. But the question comes down to, do I believe that Michael Myers is the same Michael Myers? And I do. And I think the reason I do is, yes, I agree with Darren in what he's saying. There was a bit, the funny thing is with Nick Castle, as we know, Nick Castle was just walking. That's the way he walks. If you see Nick Castle now, obviously, he's a bit older and obviously, he's got a little bit of a belly, but he's still the same guy. And when you see Nick walk at conventions, you're like, it kind of looks like Michael Myers walking. And it actually does. Like it actually does, which is hilarious. Now, were there some little things and nuances that Nick brought to the performance that wouldn't just be his everyday walk? Sure. And you definitely can see it when, at the end of the first movie, when Laurie tells the kids to go into the bathroom, locks door, I think it was the bathroom, and she goes into the closet, Nick will walk, and then he does kind of this turn, like this, almost this robotic, for all intents and purposes, not Dick Warlock robotic, but it's a gliding turn, just boom, like this, right? Would he walk like that normally when he's turning into a bedroom? No, probably not. But so he did bring a little nuance to it, and the sit up and all that kind of stuff, right? But when he's walking across the street, oh, the keys, that's just fucking Nick walking. He's just walking briskly. He's walking with purpose, with intention. What's your motivation, right? What's your motivation? Why am I walking across the street, right? And James Jude Courtney brought that. Now, James Jude Courtney was bringing his own little flair to it, but I think if you were to see James Jude Courtney just walk across a street or walk, you would see him. So, and I think that's why you see a lot of, I think that's why it works. Because even though he's not identical to Nick Castle, the essence of just walking is there. And I think, people like George P. Wilbur and Dick Warlock were putting on a walk. You know what I mean? They were, any moment there was this, especially, I love Dick Warlock. I do. But even he would tell you, nobody fucking told me what to do. So I just was like, all right, I'll just walk. And he put his own Frankenstein, very kind of, and it changes how apparent it is. Sometimes it's very apparent, like when he's walking down the stairs and there's that low angle power shot. And he's like, boom, boom, boom. And it's like, fuck, he's really fucking robot. He's totally like a robot here, right? And then there's some scenes where it's like, he's kind of moving normal, So, but yeah, I think people like James so much because it's like, oh, this feels like a dude, just a dude. And so it allows us to believe that's the same guy, even though the nuances might be a bit different. And then we can justify it in our own minds because, well, it's 40 years later, posture, stance, maybe it is changed a little bit, right? So anyway, it's cool stuff though. But I agree. I agree with what you're saying there. Super chat comes in from Robert Kitzmiller, sends in a $5 super chat and says, what kind of cliffhanger would you like to see leading into ends? Well, I kind of know what's there. What kind of cliffhanger would I like to see leading into ends? Just ending on a dark note, something that ends on a dark note. Something that ends on a dark note. This is clearly being designed as a trilogy, so to speak. Obviously, it's a quadrilogy, I guess, if you include the first movie from 78. But this is David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. So it has a beginning, middle, and an end, and we're about to get to the middle. So the middle chapter of a 3-act play, as I always say, is usually the darkest for our protagonists. It doesn't end well. And don't end well. And don't wrap it up. End it with many questions. You're like, what the fuck? Oh my God, what's going to happen, right? In some ways, that's kind of like It's Me, Billy was, right? I'm not going to say it's darker than Black Christmas, but It's Me, Billy ends on an epic cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Like, right? Because then, if we get a chance, hopefully, to do the next chapter, it would be the resolution. So that's what I hope, is that it ends in a way that feels organic and really cool. Like, that makes me excited for Halloween Ends. Something that makes me, even me, really excited for Halloween Ends. And like I said, I know I can be blunt about the Halloween franchise, but come on. I mean, there's a reason why they've had to start 5,000 times over, right? I'm not saying anything the filmmakers don't agree with, trust me. Just doesn't look good when they say it, I guess. Although unless you're John Carpenter, who's not afraid to say, that fucking sucked. Mark Warling says, Dave, how many kills will the shape make in H kills? Will it be a dozen or more? Thoughts? Well, I kind of know because I've read what is presumably the script. And I don't want to spoil anything, right? So, I don't mind talking about the date of the trailer and all that kind of stuff and any info that I get, because that's not a spoiler. I mean, that's, everybody's talking about it, and that's the fun of the game. And and like I said, I hopefully maybe I can bring a different perspective to the table. That being said, I don't want to say too much about what I know about the validity of the intensity. But I mean, come on, the title's Halloween Kills. Let's just put it that way. And that could be a people could really like that. Or like I said, for Halloween purists out there, it may be a bit of a deterrent. Like maybe like, I don't know, and all that kind of shit, right? You know what I mean? So, another $9.99 super chat comes in. Thank you very much, Zach Talk. Appreciate that. It says, hey, Dave, thanks for teaching me the other day about body language in your It's Me, Billy movie. Also about how much money a person can make during YouTube. Are you asking? I'm thinking about, you're asking, okay, there are two things. First thing is teaching you about cinematic language. Yeah, I have a video on my channel where I talk about cinematic language. Now, maybe that's a term you haven't heard before, but it's a term that any filmmaker or anybody who works in the film industry will definitely know. If you are a cinephile or a lover of film, you probably know what that means. It's very important and it affects everybody. And I was talking about it the other day. So you're very welcome. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you for, I'm glad you appreciated it. And how much money can a person make on YouTube? Oh, dude. I mean, that's like, it depends, right? It depends on a number of factors. I mean, I couldn't quit my job as a voice actor and go full-time on YouTube. I don't make enough money, doing that. I don't. Now, I also haven't and geared my channel towards being able to do that because I'm very happy and content with having the job that I have and working in the industry that I do. And it allows me the freedom to do something like this. And the second that something becomes work, I'm the kind of person that I have the personality that if it becomes work, I don't enjoy it anymore. So, I make a little bit of money off the channel, from the super chats that goes back into the channel. It allows me to pay my assistant who helps me with my scheduling in my voiceover career and helps me to do the shows that I do and all that kind of stuff. But it's not like I'm not making a lot of money doing this channel. I think my analytics, like if I'm not talking Halloween, which is the vast majority of the time when there's no Halloween, I mean, when I look at my analytics, my, ad, it's like maybe I make like $1.19 a day or something, something like that. I mean, it's not, but I'm also not, again, I'm not pumping content out there that would get all those views and all those clicks and all that kind of jazz. So it all depends, man. I'm really not the person to talk to. There's a lot of probably better equipped YouTubers. I'm not a big fan of the word YouTuber. I much prefer YouTube personality. YouTuber just to me sounds like a starving artist, and maybe a lot of them are, I have no idea, but it just sounds like I don't have a job. I'm a YouTuber. That's what it sounds like to me. But nonetheless, I guess I'm a YouTuber. I would reach out to those who are, that look like, that have like a huge following. Now, I get they're not easily accessible. Just know that it takes a lot of hard work. It doesn't come easy. You have to have 1,000 subs before you can start monetizing your channel. That I know. So you have to have 1,000 subs before you can even monetize your channel. And then you have to be very consistent with the work that you put out there. You have to be very specific to, are you a movie channel? Are you a car channel? Are you a superhero channel? Are you, what the case is? Like you can't be a movie channel and then start talking about gardening. You know what I mean? Like you got to be very specific for the analytics and the algorithms. And it's a grind, man. It's a grind. It's a grind. So I know that's not the answer you're looking for. Just know it takes a lot of hard work to make a living doing YouTube. Now, maybe you're just asking, what do I need to do to make a bit of cash? Like maybe, a bit of money, petty cash as they call it, right? To just kind of expendable cash. Maybe, an extra few $100 a month that I could spend towards, buying a new couch or a new TV or whatever the case is. Well, that's easier. That's easier, right? That means you got to get 1,000 subs, be consistent, gain a following, and then you might be able to do that. You know what I mean? But if you're looking to make a living doing it, that's a whole other thing right there. That's a whole other thing. But I appreciate the super chat, man. I really do. I appreciate the super chat. Andy E says, Dave, you always have to remind people to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Then you'll make the big money, and for sure, always take Halloween all the time. Yeah, I've never asked anybody to subscribe to my channel. And admittedly, the reason why, see, now I don't, because it's kind of a thing now. When I first started, and for those of you that may not know, I've had this channel since 2006. So I was one of the OGs that had a YouTube channel, but I never did anything with it. I would upload like Halloween fan films, all that kind of stuff. But I never did anything with my channel really until 2017, when the Halloween 18 train was beginning, and I was shooting on my phone, and I didn't, whatever, right? And admittedly, it was just ignorance. Like because I wasn't doing it to make money. I wasn't doing it. I was doing it as a way, and shout out to my girlfriend, who was the one that actually really helped me, get off my ass and do this. You got to give credit where credit is due. But I really just needed an outlet. I needed an outlet to talk Halloween. I needed it because most of my friends are not big Halloween fans. Like Bruce, love Bruce, my best friend, right? Loves Halloween, appreciates it, but he's not like, he's not a diehard like us, right? So, it's like there's only so many things he knows. He's not a deep cut, you know what I mean? So I needed an outlet to talk about Halloween. So that's what it was. I just was putting it out there. I wasn't really doing it it was like writing it down and releasing it. I got it out of me, right? That's really what it was for. And then if somebody wanted to watch, great. If somebody didn't, who cares? And then people started watching, and they started liking. And then I think the first video that I did that I knew I had hit like a bit of a new level was my video where I talked about Jamie Lee Curtis returning. And I gave some insight in there, and I broke down like the synopsis of the original film, and because nobody knew at that point whether Halloween 2 was going to be negated, and I predicted that it would based on the political cinematic rhetoric, as I like to call it, that was being said. And of course, that came true. But I never asked anybody to subscribe because I didn't know that's what you had to do. I didn't really care. And then it became kind of a thing where I was like 3 years into this fucking channel, into its current form, and I was like, well, I can't ask anybody now. It's kind of become this thing where it's like, I'm not going to ask anybody to subscribe. If people want to subscribe, that's great. They can. If they don't, that's okay. Maybe really I probably should, but I probably would likely forget. I would likely forget to say, hey, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, smash that like button, smash that like, I'd have to come up with my own thing. I can't say smash that like. I'd have to be like, yeah, don't forget to annihilate and completely wreck that like button. Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't. Maybe I will. Maybe I will eventually, but I've been 4 years in now, never asked anybody to subscribe. I ask people to follow me on social media, I do that, but I've never asked anybody to subscribe or like. Never have. It's crazy. I probably should. I'm probably doing myself a disservice, but it's kind of a thing now, it's kind of a thing that I just don't do it. Destiny Faulkner is here. Smash it, you son of a bitch. I get really violent and angry every time. It's like, what the, I think there's something going on. I think there's something going on there. Anyway, okay. Songfan sends in $4.99. Thank you, Songfan. Says, Dave, I know you said you couldn't care if the H Kills trailer came in September. Oh, this is yesterday, yeah. But aside from that, wouldn't that be bad marketing for Hollywood? Oh, absolutely, of course. Of course it would be, of course. No, yesterday on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, when I said I couldn't care if the Halloween Kills trailer came in September, that's not me saying I'm not a fan, I don't care. And that, it's me saying that I'm 42 years old. So, and I'm not saying that, again, I'm speaking generally, I think this is where people tend to incorrectly assume that I'm arrogant and pretentious sometimes, is because they don't instill nuance and understand that I'm just talking generally speaking. I'm not being, I'm not saying you're not or she's not or whatever the case is. I'm just saying, I think generally speaking, people of my generation and a bit older, even a bit younger, it all depends on how you grew up. I understand that. There could be some 17-year-olds out there that's got the patience of a fucking cat. I mean, I'm not saying they don't, right? But I grew up in an era where, binge watching was not a thing, and trailers were not, there wasn't the internet, and so I want to see it. I'm excited for it. But if they said Halloween Kills, the trailer's coming out in September, like if my guy had said that, I'd be like, okay, that sucks, but okay. I wouldn't be like, maybe like, well, because I have patience, but yes, that's what I meant by that. Obviously, as a fan, I want to see it. I'm excited to see it. And yes, that would be bad marketing. Yes. Although, no, that's a whole other show. I can't get deep into that. That's a whole other show. Let me see. Okay, did I get all the super chats? I think I did. Let me go back. And the stream is great, which is good. Thank God for that. I think I got all the super chats. Yes, it looks like I did. Okay, just want to make sure that I got the super chats. I don't like leaving people hanging. Sometimes I do, depending on what happens. All right. Get some non-super chat ones here. Bobby Hall once again follows up with Dave. Why do you think that Michael took so long to exit the Wallace house when Laurie was running away from him? Was he toying with her? Okay, well, in reality, it was written that way so Laurie could go to the house and knock on the door. Right. Nick Castle was asked this at a convention. He's like, hey, even Michael's got to use the washroom. So maybe that's it. Michael was like, dun, 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 ding, 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 ding. And he's fucking right on her tail. Ding, 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 ding. Fuck. I haven't taken a leak since this morning. So he quickly darts to the bathroom. That's my peeing into the toilet sound. That's better. That sounds more. I don't know what the hell is going on. Well, he had to pee. It was a lot of pee. That would be a funny fan thing. If somebody wants to show that, of course you get a copyright probably, but show that scene and then cut to Michael like peeing in the toilet or whatever, that'd be funny. I could see the guys from Wham doing that. Mike and Jay, you fucking guys got to get on that shit. That's totally up their alley. No, I mean, look, in reality, it was just written that way because they needed Laurie to go to the next door neighbor house and knock on the door and run across the street and then have this epic shot of it was just written that way. But if you want to instill real world logic into it, I mean, maybe he dropped his knife and he was picking it up, or maybe he thought he saw something else, or I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. But I know that when you watch a movie and you overanalyze or you analyze shit, I definitely know that it can be, it can be important for a lot of people. Evil Alex says, Dave, I have heard you saying your approach. Dave, I heard you saying you approached the OG house for It's Me, Billy. Was the story different with the OG house? Why would Jess's life in the house where all her friends died? Dave, I heard you saying you approached yes, we approached the original Black Christmas house because we wanted to have the Black Christmas house in It's Me, Billy, not as the main location, just as something that would open the film. So in an early draft of It's Me, Billy, we were going to open the film at the original house. That's what we wanted to do, but we were turned away. Why would Jess's life in the house where all her friends are? No. Again, folks, the house in It's Me, Billy is not supposed to be the original sorority house. That's a separate house that Jess purchased years later up north to get away from it all. Okay, now there's a reason within the narrative why it might look similar, and I mean there's a filmmaking reason too. We wanted to, have that kind of a house. It's great for a horror movie, right? Location. But no, it's not supposed to be the same house. And if we had got the Black Christmas house from the original film, it would not have been in the whole movie. It would not have been the main location, just so you know. Reese Wilson, my man Reese, comes to the table with $22.99 Australian dollars. It says, for the channel. As for the H Kills trailer goes, for me, it could come out whenever. Out of sight, out of mind. That's true too. I think when a lot of people, I know it was very disappointing for a lot of people on July the 8th when, which was last year when it was announced. And I remember that date very clearly, not because I'm a Halloween fan. I was so devastated that Halloween Kills was delayed. But because July 8th is my mother's birthday. Now, she has since passed as well, but that's her birthday. So it was an easy date to remember. So, yeah, I mean, when Halloween news, listen, I'm a gigantic Halloween fan. You guys know that, right? But if there's no news, I'm perfectly content in talking about other things that I'm interested in. Now, that doesn't mean that my viewers will always be interested in that. But certainly I like to expand and talk about other things, whether it's Masters of the Universe or Indiana Jones or Ghostbusters or, the filmmaking process. It's Me, Billy obviously was a gigantic thing that took up a lot of this channel, but it makes sense. I mean, I'm not a studio. If I don't market my film, who the fuck else is going to? Right? So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, and you guys were a part of that journey. So that was a big part of the thing on the channel too. So, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. If I had to wait till August, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. I mean, we've waited this long, right? What's another month? You know what I mean? But it's not another month if you're just tuning in. July 1st. Ellen Brad, is the T silent? Dave, my birthday is next Wednesday. Can you do a shout out? Yes. Happy birthday to you, Ellen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ellen. Happy birthday to you. I also could have been like, here's your birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey, there we go. There you go, Ellen. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. I hope you do. I hope you do. Let's see, about just over 10 more minutes left in the show here, folks. Frank Reiger says, not as gigantic as me, Dave. I have raised peanut butter penis condom. Can you imagine if they made peanut butter penis condoms with Ray's face on it? That'd be amazing. That'd be outstanding. Michael Monroe says, hi, Dave. Halloween obsessed here. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Sorry for being late. That's okay. I didn't get the notification. What did I miss? Well, Michael, you can expect, I'm very confident on this, you can expect a Halloween Kills trailer on July 1st. I'm putting my neck out there. And as I said at the beginning of the show, I don't do this unless I'm certain. And I read a message at the beginning of the show from a viewer that was trying to inform me that there are group pages or something where people are calling me out. I don't know. Maybe that's true. I don't imagine he would lie about that, but I'm not a part of the only group page that I'm a part of is Killer Flicks. I haven't seen anybody there do it. I'm not saying anybody there hasn't. But I haven't seen anything like that. So I don't know specifically what this person was talking about, but I just want people to know that when I say something, having worked 20 years in the business, I wouldn't, I have a lot to lose by saying that. So I wouldn't, that doesn't mean I'm right all the time, but I am very confident on this information. Very confident on this information that's when you can expect it. Yeah, that's when you can expect it. But you know what? At the same time, if there are people out there that are like, Dave Mcrae doesn't know what he's fucking talking about or whatever the case, I don't know what they're saying. I don't blame them. I don't blame them because in this climate, and especially if they don't know me or they don't know who I am, I don't blame them because in this world, in this climate, yeah, most of this, when you got sites like We Got This Covered, that is just like doing so well. And like I said, I come from a media family. I come from when there was no internet. My dad came up during the golden age of journalism, real journalism, and so I have a bit of a beef with the dog shit reporting from sites like We Got This Covered and how you can just say anything and people are just going to, are just supposed to take your word for it. And it's like, no, you have to earn that. And that's earned, reciting information that what you believe is a reliable source. And like I said, my sources are not, and I'm not saying other people's are, I'm just saying mine are not Jim's mechanic who knows the dishwasher. They are people who would know the information I'm relaying it to, like firsthand information. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So, but I totally get it. I totally understand. If somebody says, that Dave Mcrae is a fucking piece, he's full of shit. I don't believe anything he says. It makes me sad more than it does angry. And it makes me sad that we live in a world today where we're saturated with so much dog shit and so much misinformation, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody thinks they can just get on and say, you know what I mean? There's no screening process. There's no dissecting and evaluating information. Like my father always said, 9 times out of 10, when a source tells you something, it's not ready to be shared. It's a puzzle. You have to. I was going to say 3 things at once there. So you have to corroborate. You have to cross-reference. You have to, let things sit and settle to see if it changes, or see if they come back with something else or whatever. It's a long game. So I don't blame them. Especially if they don't know who I am, or if they already don't like me. That's possible too. If somebody already doesn't like me, then it doesn't matter what I say. I could say it's going to rain tomorrow and they go, "The fuck you, Mcrae." You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't matter, right? And I know I have some of those people out there, but it's just important. I just want people to know that I would never stick my neck out there unless I was sure, and that's all. I'm not. And are there others out there that have firsthand sources that would know that information too? Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are. I'm just talking in my own box. I don't really know what others are saying half the time, and I have to look into it. And, these things are usually brought to my attention. But anyway, I don't blame them, whatever. Jason Badass says Mike Zero. I've heard of Mike Zero. Is he that Star Wars guy? Mike Zero? He's the Star Wars guy, right? I remember when The Last Jedi came out, and in the lead up to the Rise of Skywalker, I remember I came across his channel and I listened to him, and I didn't know who he was, right? So keep that in mind. I didn't know who he was. And I was like, this guy's got all this information. But then I realized that he was posting like 10 videos a day. And I was like, who the fuck? What the fuck? 10 videos a day? What the fuck? And then of course, when I did a bit of looking into, I realized that he has a bit of a reputation of being, quantity, not quality, and a bit of hyperbole and all that kind of jazz. And again, I don't know Mike. I don't know if he's a nice guy. He might be a great guy. I just know that he's definitely one of those people that people kind of, you have to, but that could also be because how many times is he saying source, right? Like I always say, if you watch somebody who is constantly talking about my source said this, like in every video they do, guys, sources, reputable. I don't mean Jim knows Bob, who knows the dishwasher, who knows the mechanic. That's not what I'm talking about. Reputable sources that would have concrete information rarely speak. They rarely speak. And it's for 2 reasons. Number 1 is, very rarely is there newsworthy information, like I said. And number 2 is, they don't want to fucking risk it. They don't want to lose their jobs. So if you got a blabbermouth that's constantly talking, that should be a sign right there that there's something up. My opinion, based on what I've learned. Matthew Ferresi sends in $4.99. Thank you, Matthew. Says, I'm honestly excited for a brutal Michael in kills. Still, I hope there's some tension and mood to go along with it. Well, that's kind of the balancing act that I was talking about earlier, right? Matthew, it's this like, we kind of know with what we've kind of seen in that little spot last year, what we know from the title, what we know, the rumors out there, this is likely to be probably the most Friday the 13th Halloween we've ever gotten. I would expect that in terms of the violence. I would expect that. But how do they balance it with the Halloween-y things? The DNA, the identifiers that make it Halloween, mood, atmosphere, genuine suspense. Like if it's just payoff, well, wait a minute. Halloween, part of the DNA of Halloween is suspense payoff, right? So how do they handle the suspense? Is there going to be suspense? The 18 movie was largely void of it. So I guess that's something I'm a bit worried about. Do you know what I mean? But I'm excited to see what they do with it. Danita Brown, the lovely Danita Brown is here, ladies and gentlemen. Says, I'm watching your first live stream of you watching your Blu-ray copy of 1970. Oh, that! Oh my God, that's from 2017. That's an OG. That's, oh my God, that looks so archaic now. Yeah, that was, I wanted to do something special at Halloween time and I didn't know what to do. So it was my girlfriend that said, well, why don't you watch Halloween live? You know, so I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And I think I only had like, 1,000 subs at that point or something like that. Maybe a bit more than that. And I remember, yeah, I watched it and it's so archaic. It's so kind of cheesy, but yeah, that's so funny. That's really cool. Juan Rivera sends in $5. Thank you, Juan. Says, it's been some time since I've been able to catch a live. Well, very cool. Yes, I was going to go live this morning, but I was waiting on a little bit of information, sort of the topic of discussion here today. I was waiting on some information. Juan Rivera sends in $5. Thank you, buddy. Says, it's been some time since I've been able to catch a live. That's right. Says, I've just wanted to show love, Dave. Can't read today. So what's more iconic, the theme in Halloween or Mikey himself? Well, what's our benchmark, right? What is our measuring stick in terms of iconic? What is most recognizable to the average viewer? I mean, they're both pretty damn iconic in their own different ways. Do you know what I mean? So, man, what is more iconic? Well, okay, what's our measuring stick? What would the average person... I'm going to go with the theme. Yeah, I think the theme is probably the... I'm still going to go with the theme. Okay, our benchmark's going to be the average person on the street. You go out to the average person on the street and you show them a picture of Michael Myers and you let them hear the Halloween theme. Some are going to know both. Some are going to know one or the other, right? Some are not going to know either. The question then becomes, who picks up on... I think it's going to be the theme because I think you're going to have a select portion of the population that is going to do the 80s thing and they're going to think Michael is Jason. They're going to see the white mask and they're going to go, Jason, that's Jason. If you're like me and you're old as I am and you grew up in the 1980s and you tried to be Michael Myers, people will be like, oh, so you're Jason. No, I'm not. I'm Michael Myers. Fuck. I'm Michael Myers, Dad. Or you go trick-or-treating because they didn't have like a really good Myers mask. I had that like Dawn Post one that was like, didn't look anything like Michael Myers. Oh, look, honey, we got Freddy and Jason here. No, it's Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Now, that is less so today. That is very less so today. That's more of a thing of the past. But I still think the Halloween theme, more people may recognize the theme. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that will be the benchmark. I think that's going to be the benchmark. So I think that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that. Diamond Rattler. I like that name. If they don't release a trailer by Friday, I'll wait until the movie hits DVD. No, you won't. No, you won't. Come on. No, you won't. So if they don't release the trailer by Friday, which they're not going to, then you're going to wait until they release the whole movie on DVD. So you'll be waiting till like early next year. You want to put some money on that? Of course, I'd have no evidence that you didn't go see it, right? Because I don't know who you are. I doubt that very much. Come on. Although that would be, hey, if you do that, that'd be some epic willpower. I will definitely say that. All right, folks, listen, that's going to do it for me for episode 181 of Mcrae Live. Thank you to my wonderful moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Shore, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber for doing what you guys do. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to the Super Chat questions that came in today, the non-Super Chat questions that came in today, and thank you for listening to what I had to say. If you're somebody that doesn't agree with me and you think I'm full of shit, that's okay. I've explained all the reasons of why I've said what I said and how I handle handle and why I handle this type of topic in the ways that I do. If you want me to go in more depth, there is a Mcrae Live on my channel where I talk about sources and all that kind of stuff. You can check it out. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can at facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. That's where I tend to post in the meantime and in between time when I'm not posting here. All my links are in the description to my websites, my IMDb, my Twitter, my Instagram, Patreon. It's all down there. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. Have a great rest of your Tuesday and stay safe out there, folks. Alrighty. I'll talk to you soon. Wrong one. Wait a minute. I hit the wrong one. There we go. Here we go. Cheers.